Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and in this video what I want to do is just talk about wireframing. So if you're developing really any kind of user interface for any kind of application, even if it's not a web application, and even nowadays even desktop applications and mobile applications are using web-based UIs. So wireframing is just a good way to think through how you're going to build sort of the visual of your website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new account over here at mockflow.com. So let's see here. Let's get a free account. Okay, my name is Alex Merced. Alex Merced. And cool, I'm in. So let's start a new project. Let's just start a new blank project. Okay. Cool. It's just going to be practice. And the way I always like to think about it is that, let's go to like Amazon.com. When I look at this website, I think in boxes. Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, so here are two rectangles. Okay. So let's like wireframe this out. So, okay, here at the top. Okay. Let's see here. What I want to do here on page 1. Okay. But I'm thinking, let's see here. Can I drag this? There we go. So there's one rectangle, and then can I duplicate that? Yep. And then there's two rectangles. Okay. So that's sort of like these two menu items here. Okay. And here's I can think of other sort of elements that go vertically. So generally I'm thinking this is a flex box. Okay. This is sort of one container here, and then these are other elements that are set up as sort of a, so whenever I think vertical elements or horizontal elements, I'm thinking, okay, this is probably using flexbox. Same thing here. Okay, so this is one square. Okay. Then here we have several other squares. So this is an interesting effect. So you see how it kind of like fades out, but somewhere that picture ends. So let's take a look. Control Shift I. I'm wondering about that one. Let's see here. Okay, so these are two separate images that represent the where you click, and then I'm assuming then this is one big picture right here in the middle. And where does that picture end? Yep, right around there. And then the rest of this is here. See, that's one big container, one big square, and inside of it, okay, so basically inside this square there's two rows. See, one row. And then this other row with more flexbox items. So each of these squares are really, actually there's even a little line right here. That's interesting. Okay, so it's really 3 rows. Row 2, row 3, row 1. Okay, but you basically have to think of everything in squares. So again, if I'm doing this here, I'm thinking, okay, here is the big sort of hero image. Okay. Then here are those other boxes. And each of those boxes have multiple rows inside of them. So I'd make a little smaller square representing all those little minier flex boxes inside. And I think of each box as like a div. So this just gives me an idea of sort of how many divs or semantic tags I'm going to use setup. And essentially that's what you have kind of in that square. And then, you know, I can start working inside what's inside these divs. Like here's the hamburger menu. Here's the search bar. I think right before that was like the logo. And you see there's all these divs that are going to be lined up, and they're lined up horizontally because it's probably going to be a flex box. But the idea here is by creating a wireframe and just kind of thinking through the design in boxes. Not thinking through what images where or whatnot, just thinking through sort of where are the boxes, what boxes exist in what boxes. So when it's already made, I can easily see how other websites are made using the dev tools. But when you have like a mock-up and it's just an image, you're going to want to draw on that image and then maybe create a wireframe on it. And I think you can actually even you could probably even take your mock-up and put it in here and then just draw the boxes around it. So this is a useful tool. This is Wireframe Pro over there at mockflow.com, and you can create your wireframes using this tool. You can use your wireframes. I've done a lot of wireframes just with the pen and paper. Sometimes it's easier for me just to draw out all my squares and all my lines, and that gets me thinking about how I'm no longer thinking about the colors or all that stuff. I'm just thinking about positioning. Once I get things positioned, then I can tweak the margins, tweak the colors, get things just sort of perfect. But at least I'm thinking, okay, what containers do I need, and how do they relate to each other? So is this a container inside of a flex box? Is this a container inside of a grid? Is there a grid with flex boxes inside of it? So wireframing can be pretty important. So again, kind of comparing. So here, this top row here kind of represents this thing right here. As you can see, I can still add some more boxes to it. But you start seeing the patterns, and here's the footer, and this is 5. Well, let's see here, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns. So these are probably each its own flex box container inside of it. Let's see here. Okay, so this is one big row, and then each of those are so each of these are a container inside that flex box. So that would tell me, what happens if I make this smaller? Let me just get smaller. Let me refresh the page. See if it readjusts. So there we go. Now it's more mobily. And see, it kind of adjusts that footer. The footer disappears altogether. And see, and then you can draw a wireframe of your mobile view. And again, same sort of idea. I think boxes. So now the top rectangle has 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes inside of it. Then the next one. So then we create a separate row, which has basically essentially 2 boxes, and then we have this menu here, which I can drag, and you get the idea. So my name is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. Again, the point here is just sort of how to think through the abstract of your UI before you actually go around and start making a bunch of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Think of it in squares. That's the way I like to think about it. Just how there's a visual, where are the boxes, what boxes are inside other boxes, and then you just sketch out those boxes in your HTML and then use your CSS and JavaScript to pretty it out. So I'll see you guys later on.